Everybody. So recently, inside of this server that I'm a part of, this question was asked. Explain the thermodynamics menu in details. Now, while there is no thermodynamics menu, there is a thermodynamics tab in Twisted that'll allow you to see what it is that the thermos are for the day. So we're going to get right into it here, and we're just going to hop on over here. As you see, I've got the beautiful Dow 7 here currently scanning. And if you go up here to this little sunshine tab, you'll come up with a thermodynamics tab that'll show you all the thermodynamics for the day. Now, obviously, temperature and dew point, those are fairly obvious. You know, dew point being uh, explained a little bit later. But we're going to start with the CAPE. Now, CAPE stands for convective available potential energy. Now, what that means is it's the amount of energy that is there for a storm to build. And what that is like, for instance, a low cape as weaker storm potential. This is a fairly moderate cape right here, 3459. It's a fairly moderate cape, which is good enough, and probably what gave today the enhanced risk itself is the moderate cape. Uh, you'll see storms probably popping up here soon. It is only 10 a.m., but that's essentially, yeah, right there. Right there's our storm. And being that these have a north by northeast motion at 59 miles an hour, that means they're going to be fairly quick movers to the north by northeast. Anyways, so the higher the cape, the stronger the potential for tornadoes. The lower the cape, and not so much. It's just the fuel, if you will, like you know how we have gas to make our cars run, gas to make the trucks run. Cape is what makes the tornadoes go. The three cape is uh, is the low level stuff. It's lower. It's the storm. It's that fuel, but it's closer to the ground. And being that tornadoes form near the surface, this number matters a lot. It shows how strong the rising air is, how supportive it is for that strong rising air, and it is very important for tornado setups within the lowest maybe 3 or 4 thousand feet closer to the surface. Then you got the dew point, like I said, is up there, 67 for dew point. Dew point is essentially how much moisture is in the air. It's like what a relative humidity would be. It's how much is in the air, how much it is up there in the air. And storms need that moisture to help develop. So a higher dew point, say for instance like 67 right there, means better thunderstorm potential, means better chance for tornadoes. You want that high dew point for these kind of games to be able to get some good tornadoes out of it. Uh, yeah, so you got that 67 dew point. Most commonly, when you think like in Twister, for instance, in the movie Twister, they mention Jonas's team mentions about how there's dew points up to 70. That's a really good dew point for some good tornadoes. So that's essentially what you're looking for is a high dew point. Anything above 50, 60, even up to 70, those are really good numbers for tornadoes. Up next, we've got the 3 kilometer lapse, 0 to 3 kilometer lapse. That's the lapse rate in the lowest 3 kilometers of the atmosphere. And a lapse rate is is temperature dropping with height. So like right here, we see 9 centigrade per kilometer, or 9 Celsius. Yeah, nine. Pardon the brain fart, but it's 9 per kilometer. So that's dropping 9 degrees per kilometer, 9 degrees Celsius by kilometer. So by the time it gets up to three, it will have. By the time it gets up to that upper 3 kilometer, it would have dropped about 27 degrees Celsius, which is fairly fast, fairly quick cooling. we want those steep lapse rates. We want those numbers, but we want those numbers to be higher. 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those are really good. That means that it's got a strong upward motion and it's helping it develop very rapidly near the ground here, as you can see right there. Now we've got our tail cloud and our wall cloud there in the background. Our 3 to 6 kilometer lapse is the same thing, but it's the lapse rate that's higher up in that upper 3 to 6 kilometers of the atmosphere. And if it's right there, and we want good lapse right there, we want something good there, we want it to be a higher number as well. 6.4 is a really good number here. That just means that up there in that middle part of the atmosphere, we've got strong enough cooling that we can get stronger and more sustained thunderstorms, like something that'll last a little bit longer. And that's what we really want out of these kind of things. Up next, we've got the SRH down there. Obviously, you see it at a 348 meters squared by yeah. So you got 348 for the SRH, and that's the spin. That's what causes the tornado to form. That's going to be your spin, how much wind is up there and turning and twisting with height. And that's what you really want. The storm relative helicity really does matter a lot for these, and it's very, very important for tornadoes and for supercells. That's what helps it go. That's what helps the tornado that's what helps the storm spin. Like you see right there, that storm is spinning. Let's actually get my drone up there. You see that spinning right there. That's where the SRH, the storm relative helicity, really comes in. And you got a tornado on the ground over there in the terms of that dust cloud, and you've got multiple vortices over there as well. You don't have a condensation funnel, but that doesn't mean the tornado is not on the ground. You have that dust cloud right there. That essentially means the tornado is indeed on the ground. But now we got to move on to our relative humidity. So we've got the surface RH, which is the surface relative humidity. It's at a 51% right now, and that's a moderate RH. That's a moderate relative humidity there. And what that is that's just the relative. That's just the humidity in the air near the ground. That's what we feel on like a really hot day when it's hot and muggy out and you're just sweating all over. That's what that is. That's the relative humidity acting in the atmosphere, acting in that in those lower levels near the surface. And you want that low level moisture because that will help storms form. You ever hear the old saying, you don't want the sunshine on a storm day makes for a bad day, is essentially what that is. You don't want, if it's been raining the night before and the sun comes out, that's just adding to that moisture in the lower levels. That's adding to it, and that's making it worse for a lot of things. That just means that there's going to be some good storms building later, and you really, really, need to keep an eye out. And then you've got the 700 to 500 millibar RH, which is also relative humidity, but it's in the mid levels of the atmosphere, typically between 700 millibars and 500 millibars for pressure levels. It's essentially what tells you how moist or dry that middle part is right there. So, like the mid level moisture will help storms stay healthy, stay mature, stay active. And you want like a higher number. You don't want a low number. A low number will mean like, a lower number is the difference between this tornado. This number essentially is the difference between a tornado threat and a damaging wind threat. A higher number means better chance for tornadoes. A lower number would mean damaging wind. If it's really, really low, you might not even have a storm at all. That's what that's all about. And then we got the TPs, which is the tornado potential. So you've got STP and VTP. Up here you have an STP of 5 and a VTP of 1. Now STP of 5, that's a significant tornado parameter, and that's just a tornado setup. The higher that number is, the better the atmosphere for tornadoes. That's a strong tornado number right there. 5 is a decent tornado number. That's a number that pardon the distraction, but we have twins. Let's not go too high up so that we can see what's going on around here. That one hasn't fully touched the ground yet. Oh, nope, there it is. Now it has. So that one is now officially a full tornado, and that one is debating whether or not it wants to lift or not. It did just hit the airport radar. But anyway, so the STP is the significant tornado parameter, and the higher the number that is for that, then we really, really want that. We really want that higher number. Now, it doesn't guarantee a tornado. That's a misconception. It doesn't guarantee the tornado. What it is it raises the concern for the tornadoes. So it'll basically tell people, yes, we need to start watching for this day. It's a high number. We really want to be careful with it. It's what blends together all that instability and the moisture and the wind shear and all the other ingredients you need for a strong supercell like tornado storm to be out there. And then the VTP is the violent tornado parameter. Now that's another combined index, just like the STP, but the VTP is for higher end tornado damage, tornado danger. So we're looking for something that's like a 1 or a 2 is fine. 3, 4 is a little bit more on the concerning side. Anything higher than that is obviously a very concerning thing. That essentially means that it's going to be a very violent kind of day, and you really need to keep an eye out and stay weather aware. Watch out for anything that doesn't look right in the sky. Listen to your warnings and all that kind of stuff. And it's used to identify dangerous environments. Like, for instance, Twisted just celebrated 10,000, I believe. So they had high risk days, and they had 10 million cape, and they had a bunch of good fun stuff. And you were looking at STPs that were 14 to 17, and you had VTPs that were 5, 6, even a little bit higher than that, 5, 6, 7. And that's a big warning sign right there. It's not like the significant tornado parameter. It's not a guarantee, but it's a warning sign. It's what you want to use. It's what you want to watch out for. You don't want to be stuck, somewhere you don't want to be when stuck with like all this going on here. But that's essentially the that's essentially going to be it for this one. Hope you guys got some good content out of this. Got some good information out of this that helped you learn at least a little bit of something. You can always ask more questions in the comments section of this video, or join the Discord server, which I will once again show up on the screen right here. Is Strictly Business Interception, and I'm going to throw a link right down into the description of the video. I'm going to throw a link to my own personal server out there as well. So you guys, please take it easy. Remember these numbers. Keep it all in mind for next time you want to go chasing. And I will catch you all later.